Coach Prime episode 5 was my favorite by far. We learned so much about the team. We learned a ton about Coach Prime's absence and the fact that he had 2 toes amputated during his 23-day absence. We're going to talk about it right after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is good people? What is good people? My name is JeffLightsyJr. here with the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to come on in. Hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Now, Coach Prime episode 5 came on Barstool Sports, and it was by far the best episode, from production to storytelling to just all the factors that were involved. It was the best episode they have had in the 2 seasons of Coach Prime. I loved every second of it. And right from the beginning, obviously they talk about Coach Prime's struggle, and we're going to, with his foot, with his leg, we're going to talk about that later in the show. But in this episode, from the jump, you got an introduction to Coach Flea. Now, some of you all Jacksonians, some of you Jackson State diehards, and the ones that are down there in Jackson, Mississippi, you may be a lot more familiar with Coach Flea than someone like myself, who hasn't been around the program, who's followed the program, who's covered the program, but hasn't actually been around. You got a good look of Coach Flea. And the dope thing I like about Coach Flea is that his coaching style is almost a 180 than Coach Prime. His coaching style is a lot more robust. It's a lot more in your face, a lot more curse words. Ain't no bull junk, it's bullish. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I can have an astound, like, an admiration for that. I love that, one, Coach Flea is on the staff and can coach the way that he coaches, can be himself, can, you know what I mean? Like, just because you're on Coach Prime's staff don't mean you got to coach like Coach Prime. I admire that. Also, Coach Flea reminds me of the coaches I had growing up playing in West Louisville Football League. Like, not really the coaches I had in high school. I didn't really have a lot of coaches like that in high school, like Coach Flea. Now, obviously, I didn't play in college. But in Little League, my coaches were like Coach Flea. They loved you, but they was going to let you know. And so that I had a nostalgia. That was like a personal thing with that. He really didn't take any crap. He you know what I'm saying? Like the big fight at the beginning with Tony Gray and the equipment manager, which I think is bizarre. I really want to know what the hell they were mad for. Like, why is the fact that your starting left tackle is getting in a beef with your equipment manager? What the hell is the equipment manager doing? Like, what are you doing to rile up a starter on the offensive line? You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be, I don't know if he told Tony he's being lazy or said something slick or whatever, but that was an interesting, I didn't expect that. I knew, obviously, Tony got suspended for the Bethune game, and during the season, we knew it was something that took place at practice, but I thought it was something between him and Shador. You know what I'm saying? Something for him to get suspended. I was like, yo, he must have, like, got pissed at Shador or got pissed at one of the other O-line or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it was with the equipment manager. Now, if I am on the coaching staff, I wonder if that equipment manager is still on the team right now. I wonder if he made it through the end of the season, because you can't be beefing with our players. You can't be forcing our players to miss games. Now, if they fight with each other in-house, that's one thing. But equipment manager, no, you need to go make sure the balls is pumped up. Make sure, you know what I'm saying, Shador got clean towels or something. Like, you don't need to be beefing with my damn starting left tackle. That's just my thoughts on that. But I really like Coach Flea. I loved his attitude. I love what he brought to the game. I love the energy. I love the energy they provided. I knew he was doing something right because they went undefeated the entire time Coach Prime was out. But to actually see him work and to actually see his interactions with the kids, with the young men, rather, with the players, that was good. I really, really enjoyed that. Tony Gray, we found out why he got suspended for the BC game, arguing with the equipment manager, Mr. Jerry Smith. Jerry Smith. That was interesting. Another reason why this is one of my favorite stories is because it featured one of my favorite players, Malachi Wideman. In front of the show, we've had Malachi on. Malachi is good people. His family are good people, and we got to know some of his background. Obviously, they didn't say it in that a lot in that piece. They just spoke about Malachi was late to catch on to some of the plays. But part of that reason was because Malachi was the last person to report to camp, fall camp. Malachi transferred from Tennessee, and he was the very last person to report to fall camp to Jackson State because he was still deciding what school he wanted to go to. Finally picked Jackson State, moving from Florida to Jackson. That was a process. So he was the very last person to report to camp. So therefore, he was already kind of behind. And by the time he got, he got his rhythm, he took off. As you see, he had 12 touchdowns in essentially 9 games. You get what I'm saying? Like 12 touchdowns in 9 games is impressive. So Malachi telling his story, telling about his dunks in front of LeBron James. They didn't really get into, but you can check out my interview with Malachi right here on the Black Boss channel and on JeffLightsyJr YouTube about how his relationship with Zaire Wade. Zaire Wade is one of his buddies. He played on the same traveling team as Zaire Wade out of Florida. He's gotten to know the Wade family. He got to play in front of LeBron James. LeBron James told him, like, yo, you could do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? You a hooper for real. Like, you can hoop for real. And so Malachi has taken that to the next level. And obviously he plays high-level college football and high-level college basketball. Really, really, really love the Malachi Wideman aspect of this piece because Malachi, I think, is going to be a pro. I think Malachi is going to play at the next level, and it was good for them to feature Malachi now because by this time next year, we're going to be talking about Malachi and where he's going to fall in the NFL draft because I think he's that special. I think he's that good of a talent. If he has another 10, 12 touchdown season, 1,000-yard receiving season, we're going to be talking about this man getting drafted next April. But that's neither here nor there. So the Malachi Wideman story, really, really loved that. Antwon Owens story. That is something I did not know about. Antwon Owen. I knew he was a graduate of Georgia Tech. So, I mean, I knew he was pretty smart. You graduate from Georgia Tech, whether you're a football player or not, you're pretty damn smart. So I knew he was smart. But an author, that is dope. That is next level. That is something that a lot of, not just football players, but a lot of young black men don't get into writing. We don't, statistically, a lot of us don't like to read. There's that old saying, if you want to keep something away from black folks, you put it inside a book, right? And so the fact that he is an author, so that means he reads a lot. That means he is intelligent. That means he knows how to use his words, his literature, all that stuff. That was impressive. I was a fan of that. That was awesome. That lets me know this man has a plan after football. That means whether his NFL dreams come true or not, his USFL dreams, his XFL dreams, his professional football dreams, CFL dreams, whatever. If that doesn't come true, he already has 1 degree from Georgia Tech, which is speaks for itself. He probably has gotten another one from Jackson State or pretty close to getting another one from Jackson State. And he's preparing himself to be an author, to preparing himself to write books, preparing himself to do some really, really cool stuff in the literature space. Yo, salute to that man, Antwon Owen. While also being a sack master, while also leading the country, helping lead one of the most devastating, ferocious defenses in all of college football last year, along with James Houston and the rest of those guys at Jackson State. So salute to Antwon Owen. The Jerry Rice piece, that was, before Deion Sanders ever became the head coach of Jackson State, I knew about the legendary battles between him and Jerry Rice. I knew about what Coach Prime was able to do when he was with the 49ers. I knew that he helped bring some fun and some spunk and some dope, some primeness to the 49ers. I knew all of that stuff. It was so cool. They didn't get into the fights that Prime and Jerry had because there was some arguments, there was some fights. They really stayed away from that, but you can go look that stuff up. But they talked about the relationship, and that was super, super cool. Shout out to Barstool for the animation. I really thought the animation was amazing. I really like how they did the animation, the switching of the jerseys of Prime from the 49ers to the Cowboys, first from the Falcons to the 49ers and the 49ers to the Cowboys, and how Prime accomplished his mission. He helped bring a Super Bowl, back to the 49ers, who was in a little drought. Then the next year signed a big old deal. They didn't talk about the money, but he signed a nice little chunk of change, a nice little amount of money with the Cowboys, made him the highest paid defensive player, and then went over there and won a Super Bowl. So that was really cool, getting Jerry Rice in there to talk about what Prime is doing for HBCU sports, what Prime is doing for HBCU football, how that is benefiting not just Jackson State, but even his school in Itta Bena, Mississippi Valley. So shout out to Jerry Rice for coming and being a part of this project. Shout out to him for giving that praise to Deion Sanders and what he has been able to do at Jackson State. And then, of course, we found out about the toe amputation. They made that public knowledge. I think it was the beans were kind of spilled early before yesterday by Larry Fitzgerald Sr. So for those of you who don't know, Larry Fitzgerald Sr. went on Twitter, and I almost thought it was fake. He went on and said, I guess he saw an early screening of the episode. I'm assuming that's probably what happened, or maybe he talked to someone or what was going to come out on the episode. But probably a day or two before the episode dropped, Larry Fitzgerald Sr. actually tweeted and said, sorry to my friend, or thank you for the recovery to my friend Deion Sanders. He just had 2 toes amputated. And I was like, yo, someone hacked Larry Fitzgerald Sr.'s account. Like, what was going on? And so I think that made, this is just me, speculating. I honestly have no inside information on any of this stuff. But I think this made the guys at Barstool, the guys over there, Coach Prime, Entity, this SWAC, Constance, all of them was like, yo, what the hell? Like, who told Larry Fitzgerald Sr. this? Well, let's get ahead of this, right? And he already kind of spilled the beans. Let's go ahead and drop the trailer. Let folks know he did get those toes amputated, but watch the full episode to see, what really went down. And so that's what they did before, the day of the episode or before the episode actually dropped. They released that he did get those 2 toes amputated back in October. They released all of that stuff. And then they were like, yo, watch the full episode to find out what happened. And during the full episode, we found out that he had 3 separate blood clots. We found out that he almost had his leg amputated. We found out he's got these 2 big old gashes in his leg. And we also found out, like they confirmed, that he got the 2 toes amputated. And that's got to be rough. I don't think most of us knew. I know some of the Jackson State people, Jackson State fans down on Jackson, players on the team, knew how serious it was. I don't think it was ever really told to us. Well, I mean, at least it wasn't public knowledge that he got the toes amputated. That's big. You got to think about Deion Sanders. He's someone who played professional sports at the highest level for years, for almost 2 decades, right? For over 2 decades. And then to know that you were once that dude, like you were the dude that all the kids wanted to be, even up until your older ages, right? Like you were that dude that people wanted to get advice from, that still want to get advice from, that people talk to, that people come to, but because you were such a high level athlete, and to now look down at your, right or left foot or whatever it is and see 2 toes gone and know that, I mean, obviously with age and attrition, everybody knows that you can't do at 50 what you were once able to do at 25, or can't do at 55 what you were able to do at 26, or 66 at 26, or whatever. You get what I'm saying? But to look down and to know, like, wow, like once there were 2 toes there, and once I was the baddest man on the planet, the best athlete, one of the best athletes the world has ever seen, and now to know that I have to limp when I walk, or now to know at that moment during that time, he had to get assistance to do everything from use the bathroom to go to bed, to get something to eat, to et cetera, et cetera. That's got to be tough on anybody. That's got to be tough. All while your team is fighting for a conference championship. All while your team is trying to, have all the hype and expectations of the world. All while you're trying to accomplish something that has never been accomplished at Jackson State, or that at least hadn't been accomplished in the history of the program, which is win a Celebration Bowl. So that's all got to be tough. That had to be extremely, extremely tough on him. And so I'm not mad at all the fact that he was, he was upset when certain rumors came out, or that fans were upset when certain rumors came out by certain people, whether it was on Twitter, on YouTube, or whatever. So I get all of that. Like, I can understand that, because actually watching that, the 3 separate blood clots, to actually watching that he almost had his leg amputated, to actually watching that he almost had his foot amputated, to also watching that he eventually ended up having to have his toes amputated, that's tough. That's got to be tough. But he was able to overcome it. Coach, it sounds like he is recovering well. It sounds like everything is on the up and up, on the upward trajectory, and that's good to see. To see Tracy, his fiance, to see Constance, to see the trainers and all those people kind of talk about this process, and the fact that he had to spend 3 weeks in the hospital. Like, 3 weeks anywhere is a long time, but 3 weeks laid up in ICU. Yo, that's brutal. That is brutal. That is some rough stuff. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I don't like spending 2 hours in ICU, let alone 3 weeks. Oh my goodness. Like, yeah. So that was by far my favorite episode. I feel like they have to squeeze a lot into episode 6, because obviously they're going to talk about Travis. Obviously they're going to talk about winning SWAC East. They talked about winning SWAC East a little bit. They're going to talk about winning the SWAC championship. They got Travis. They got, looking forward to spring ball. I would imagine, I would think they might say something about Kevin, because Kevin was the first commit to announce he's going to an HBCU, specifically Jackson State, on national television at the at the Army All-American game. So I would think they might want to squeeze some of that in, but maybe not. And then I want to see what depth did they talk about the Celebration Bowl. I'm really interested to see how they covered that, because Jackson State got the tail whip. But we saw in that last preview that the Celebration Bowl images were there. So, yeah, this is my favorite episode by far. Coach Flea, the Tony Gray stuff, the Malachi story, the Antwon Owens story, and then the Jerry Rice aspect on top of the big reveal, the 2 toe amputations, the 3 blood clots, etc., etc. Like, and to hear that his family had this history of blood clots, including his mother, his 2 uncles. Like, it was just a lot. They put a lot in this episode. It was really, really, really well done. Salute to everybody that was a part of it. And I'm definitely looking forward. It's a can't miss episode. Episode 6 is going to be can't miss. It has been amazing. Another amazing season of Coach Prime, season 2. This was definitely better than season 1. Obviously, they had a lot more storylines to cover. They had a lot more interesting factors. And all of that plays a factor into the and they've been there for a while, so they were adjusted to everything that was taking place. I am just excited about episode 6, and I can't wait to see what they do. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is JeffLightsYJr with the Black Boss channel and Victor Formation. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7 on Instagram and Twitter. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.